Welcome to Inform TV. I'm Alan Repke, Alexandria, Minnesota. Today, this February 14th, 2013, Valentine's Day. We wish you a happy Valentine's to you and your loved ones. We're going to talk a little bit about a conference call that I participated in from Senator Al Frankens' office, and I thank his office for allowing me into that conference call. The conference call today was based on this, that he and Senator Wicker from Mississippi, a Republican, to discuss new efforts to regulate credit rating industry. Millions of investors nationwide still rely on questionable ratings, was the content of the conference. And the prep coming onto in a conference call today, Senator Al Franken and Roger Wicker, Republican, Mississippi, will discuss their new effort to protect investors nationwide by ending the conflict of interest problem inherent in credit rating industry, as mandated in a provision authored by these two senators. Recently completed a report on alleged conflict of interest in the credit rating system. In other words, rating bonds and investments, that type of thing. In particular, as the thing unfolded, it was about mortgage-backed securities, was my spin on it anyway, as they talked about different issues here. The report found that conflicts do exist and were a contributing factor in the economic collapse of 2008. They're trying to protect us from that again. Just last week, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Standard & Poor's, one of the nation's largest credit rating agency, that accuses a company of deliberately awarding high ratings to toxic mortgage securities. So that's where the mortgage portion comes in. The senators will discuss next steps they plan to take to prevent credit rating industry from scrupulous action in the future and further endangering investors and the American economy. Now, like I said, I thank them, and I listened to both senators make some introductory comments on what they were trying to accomplish in this whole discussion they had this afternoon on the 14th here, about 3 o'clock. And what I'm getting at in the whole thing, after I listened to it, and I asked the senator a few questions, and I probably do it from a standpoint of a statement of, why don't you address these issues? And what I'm feeling is that Inform TV, Inform viewers, the public is just plain fed up with what's going on. I get frustrated with all these senators back to the old days of Rudy Boschwitz, and we put him a plywood salesman on the Ag Committee, and all of a sudden he was going to tell people like me what the ag industry needed. And they get these titles, they get these staffs, and they all want to become experts. Now, we want Al Franken to stop here when he gets in the Alexandria Lakes area, but the reality and the crux of this whole issue that Al and the other senator were talking about is that the public, investors, cannot make a wise investment without having these rating agencies. And I think that's a bunch of bull. And I, in a civilized way, I told him, I said, to me it looks like the rating system needs to be simplified instead of AAA and all this garbage. I mean, what were we, $16 trillion in debt here a year ago when they downgraded us from AAA to AA? I mean, what a ridiculous type rating system. You either give us an A, which means it's rock solid, actually backed by something, a B, some of it's backed by things, but some of it's questionable, a C, D, E, F, and be done with it. Make it simple. And that was my message to the senator. And his response to me was that these are too complicated of instruments for people to invest in. And I told the senator in my process here that if it's too complicated, you shouldn't be investing in these things. And these instruments that are backed by derivatives, to rate them, whether it's A, B, C, or triple A, triple B, or whatever, the incompetent rating system, makes absolutely no sense, people. A true investment that you rate should be backed by what? Something real. Not these derivative market that they were talking about. What they're trying to do is to get so you can package them up, that your investment house can buy these home mortgages and say this group of home mortgages a triple A, or this one's double A, or this one's 1A, or this triple B. That's a bunch of bull. The investors should determine what they're worth. And the senator stressed back to me, and the others listening on there, is the fact that these are too complicated. We have to have these experts do that for us. What did we really find out? And obviously I asked him just a few things, or pointed a few things out, and then all you can do is listen. And but the reality is, he was talking about experts, and I wanted to come back. I had my 1 minute of fame, so to speak. And about the experts. The reality, people, the 2008 collapse and what led up to it, what happened? We had no experts, or we had very few experts. And over years and decades, the Greenspan is the one that allowed all this garbage that these two senators, both a Republican and a Democrat, were talking about protecting us from. The reality, people, was the so-called rating system and the AIG, the insurance system on these various securities. These speculators broke them, put them in a position that these entities did not have what? The resources to pay out to the investor when things went bad. So what happened? The government stepped in. It was a disaster in the first place. People, the other thing I want you to understand, we had no transparency whatsoever on what went on. This was a speculative basis. We're still doing massive amount of speculation. A lot of these so-called securities are backed by what? Derivatives. We're still putting long-term credit out there at dirt cheap rates with short-term money backing it. Or long-term money that's backed by derivatives that aren't backed. And so I salute the senator trying to do something, but the reality is you need to sit down here in Alexandria, Senator, and let's talk about the real hard issues. I'm carrying your stuff when you send me a video that I think is significant to people, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or in the middle like myself. We'll put it up there. But we're only 2 weeks away, people, from the cliff again. And all of these various projects, every congressman and every senator that are working on, whether they're Democrat or Republican, it's absurd. We have to, what? Start balancing this budget. We have to start making major cuts and face the reality that we have little or no experts in Congress. We have little or no experts in the derivatives market, in Wall Street, and that type of thing. And then we see things today like Buffett buying out another company. Give us a break, Congress, to let that old fool control all of America. And it is absurd. And we also saw today in the markets, American Airlines and U.S. Airways combined, two mismanaged companies, bloated with union contracts and that type of thing, now are merging. We go back here. The truth of the matter is we still should have Northwest Airlines. We've got, they talked a little bit on Morning Joe, one of the investor guys, of how we basically got 4 regional airlines now that have a basically pretty secure route a pretty secure ability to set rates, and personally I think that's good from a standpoint of we got to keep what? The safety record up, and these companies got to make money, and the airline industry makes little compared to what some of the other industries make in our country. But people, we've got just a mind-boggling mess in this whole thing, and if we had experts, we wouldn't be in this mess. And we have to and I also told the senator in this little few 60 seconds of fame, as they say, is let the marketplace work. I was trying to convey to our senator as a friend, as a person concerned and involved in these kind of things, of let the marketplace work. These rating agencies have done what? They've failed us. And this nonsense of saying the common person isn't capable to invest in it, well, if it's not, investments are complicated from a standpoint, you never know the timing of issue, but it all has to be based on sound economics. And they should not be based on this speculation. But anyway, we're going to hit some of the other issues when we're talking here. The State of the Union. I thought the President gave an excellent speech. He's a world-class speaker. But the reality is, people, talking about issues do not solve problems. And both political parties are looking for these professional speakers to get their point of view across, when the reality is we just have to see that the numbers work. And one of the things that hit me was Rubio response. I mean, give us a break, Republicans and Democrats. And we here in Minnesota should have our legislature pass a law that we will not air the response of the party that is not in presidency. This Rubio thing, the senator from Florida, was such a farce, such a joke, that it's the president to speak to the Congress and the nation of the State of the Union. So be it. The following day, the Republicans can squawk all they want. It was a disgrace to have such a thing. And here we got a guy that's supposed to be presidential. He's 41 years old. He just got his student loans paid off. And you Republicans tell him this guy is a conservative, this guy is ready to run the country and should have been considered as a vice president candidate, just like the guy from Wisconsin couldn't even carry his home state. And towards the end of the campaign, wasn't even on the podium or never allowed to talk to the press. Why? Because the congressman from Wisconsin, his numbers didn't work, and everybody in the media and anybody in business knew his numbers didn't work. This guy here is living in a 41 years old and living in a common neighborhood, can't even pay state loan. His student loans off until he's 41 years old. That's not somebody presidential in my view, and that's why I talk about a guy like Rex Tillerson. Then the other thing that I salute the president about, but I challenge him about, he said the point that he talked about, the people, we deserve a vote on this gun issue. And the reality is a vote is worthless. We deserve some action. And we just had the tragedy in Minneapolis. When we talk about the mental health deal, we talked about it here. But what happened in California, that cop? Here's a cop that went rogue. We had a guy in Minneapolis that all of a sudden, out of the blue, starts shooting at people. So I think we should demand that we get some changes on the books. A simple 10-shot clip should be the limit. We should gather up these 30-shot clips and dispose of them. We have to do some things. We're not going to take your rights to bear arms away from you. A 10-shot clip, the old saying, when you're a kid, give them a single shot and let them learn how to shoot. We don't want people spraying bullets around the neighborhoods or in houses. We've got to do something on the books on this issue. We just can't put a vote and think we're doing our job on this whole thing. And we continue then to have a Tea Party response now. how out of touch as we allowed our system to become. You know, the working class is left behind, and we understand this. One of the things that I was happy about, and we all should be happy about, I'm happy about our Democratic legislature of the president says he wants a $9 an hour minimum wage. We certainly need probably a 10, that's what I've talked here. And yet the Republicans' response was, that's going to hurt jobs. We had Glenn Menzie on here, he was talking about his program, his business. You know, we need 18 months to train somebody in industry. So be it if you need 18 months. But what is 3M and UPS telling us? They'll try somebody for 6 months. And after 6 months, they know whether that person should be on board or stay with them long term. That's the truth of the matter. Yes, to get up to full speed of where they want them, it may take 18 months like Glenn's one was talking here, but the reality is then they need $10 an hour. Whether they need it after 6 months, and I'm saying if we've got people that are working minimum wage people that have a high school education, not just a high school education, but some type of vocational training or associate degree or even a four-year college degree people that are getting $10 an hour or less. And that's absurd in this whole thing when the guys at the top just get raise after raise after raise. So we have to look at some of these things. One of the other things I thought was interesting in this whole process and relates to what Franken was talking about markets. One of the things that our farmers are faced with, and I encourage you to look at the farm show deal. The sound, there was a lot of issues. Next time I'll do it a little different. I got a good shotgun mic, but when I was talking to these people, I was shooting through a drape, so there was people talking on the other side. But you still should listen to it. There were some good comments made in that whole type of thing. But our whole system today, people, when we look at what's going on and we look at the corn market, for example, there's probably nothing, people, in our economy right now that's a tighter supply than corn and soybeans. Yet the price has been coming down. And for you that were curious about what was she talking about, new crop is the crop that's either in the field or hasn't even been planted yet. So when we were saying the price of corn for new crop was a full $1 a bushel cheaper than corn being bought today, we're talking about the stuff that hasn't even been planted yet. Or if you hear that in the future, it's a crop out in the field that they refer to new crop. And yet these supplies are incredibly tight. And the president himself talked about we're still in a drought condition, which we are. But what is happening? The marketplace is determining that the new crop should be much cheaper and the old crop should be coming down because of that. That's not people with corn. The guy from Westcon I was talking about, if you go down there, I think you find out their bins are quite empty. And so these guys that are saying the price should go down, what are they? They're futures traders. They're derivative traders that are saying we have the money and we have the scheme set up today to see that we can push the market down. Yet we're not backed by corn, and they'll say, hey, we're putting a position and we may have to take delivery or give delivery. That's a bunch of bunk. Do you have the bushels on hand either now or next fall to make your position good? The answer is no. There's farmers out there that still got grain in the bin, just like that Bremer Bank was taken. Yeah, he can make his position good, but those cockeyed speculators in Chicago don't have the position of something backing it. And from a standpoint of our farm prices, we still face some food issues. And one of the things I would say in the food issue, there's no reason this year to raise cotton, there's no reason to raise rice, there's no reason to raise peanuts. So if you think we need more acres, I don't think we do with 100 million acres of corn going in the ground, but our farm policy is is a mess, people. And there's just so many things we have to address. But back to some of the things that the President was talking about and our Congress is talking about. The sequester is coming. These automatic cuts are coming the 1st of March, in 2 weeks. And what are we doing about it? The reality is we need to let them happen, and we need to see that some revenue comes in to balance the books in the short term. But the reality is they were talking about 800,000 Pentagon employees that they may have to lay off. And the Secretary of Agriculture sent me an email today saying we may have to lay off meat inspectors and that type of thing. Bunch of bull. The reality, people, those 800 Pentagon workers and some of these other government workers lower their pay. Take a 10% pay cut. People, those people are high-paid people, overpaid people. Many of the suppliers could easily take a 10% cut. And the example study, Senator Franken and that Republican senator talking about studies. The study I would like, and to back up what I say of one of the things on the 1st of March, these Pentagon workers, these 800,000 workers are going to get 10% less pay. If you would look at what? The space shuttle program that was based on no insight. We didn't have a new replacement model. The truth of the matter is I don't think we need to spend money going up into space right now, but when they shuttle that program, the shuttle program itself, if you would look at those workers that were in that, now they still have the same education, they've still got years of experience on very technical issues and that type of thing. Look at their pay right now. I'll guarantee you that space shuttle group is probably working today. Either many of them are still on unemployment, but the vast majority are working doing the same type of engineering job or professional jobs and easily getting 15% less. So that's my comment on cut their pay and start addressing some issues on this whole mess rather than just talk about what we should do and how bad these cuts are and so on and so forth. We have a situation here, people, where we want to talk about, our president talked about in a State of Union, we have to attract jobs to America. He's talking like we're the state of Minnesota or the state of Nebraska trying to attract jobs. People, we're the most powerful country with the most powerful companies, with a powerful government. We need to be telling some of these companies that have been enjoying patents, copyrights, trademarks, exclusive distribution, protection for all their assets wherever they are in the world, yet they don't give jobs to us here anymore. The reality is they can talk all they want, the Republicans, the Democrats, that the basis is small business is going to get us back in our feet. The reality, the only thing that's going to get us back in our feet, people, is we get heavy industry back in here. And unless we get Republicans or Democrats to talk about that, we're not in a very sound position. And when we look at the debt, we look at the leadership, our lack of leadership. One of the other things I want to comment quickly here as we're running out of time about the State of the Union, how the president would say something and they'd pan the camera on Senator Schumer and Senator whoever, Congressman, so they would look like, man, we're really doing the job. Yeah, Mr. President, that's what we're going to do, whether it's McCain or whoever. That's what we're doing. People, we have the most disastrous House and Senate in our history, bar none. And the reality, personally, from the Senate, I've said here, both House and Senate, we have to modernize it. I think the Senate, when we look at that, we should have Coker pick 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans, and the rest of them should be sent home and have a new election process. That's how much of a mess we're in. The other thing they brought up, a preschool. That's the solution. People, we've had preschool for now. The people that will graduate last year from high school, this year from high school, just about all those kids were involved in daycare. We've had daycare going on now for a couple decades, heavy, which means preschoolers that were in a position to get some education and that type of thing. What happened? Weren't we educated? Why weren't we educated? Many of you people out there got your kids in a daycare and before they go to kindergarten, that type of thing. That system has failed us. My own situation was, I think we should wait till first grade, send them to first grade. And if the private industry, people believe, or our state governments believe we should be doing something, simply set a video, a policy of daycare, of sending them, rather than watch Big Bird or educate the next generation. Let's go up a level from Big Bird and give them some video. Let's give these daycare providers, rather than just keeping the kids from fighting, do some training. I have no problem with that, but to set this massive new spending program, spend more billions of dollars on education, we've got to figure out what in education works and what doesn't work. We talked about in the State of the Union the high cost of college. Well, all these professors today are grossly overpaid. They're school teachers, and we're making them look like they're gods. And when we talked about all these subjects, the reality people, and border security was the other issue as we're running out of time. People, fly some drones along there, take some pot shots at them from a few bombs here and there, and all of a sudden these guys will keep coming across the border. We got all these guys with visas that are in here. 40% of the people we give a visa to just stay here. The issues are endless, but first and foremost, we have to address the economic mess we're in with our own government. And that's going to take some cuts, and it's going to take a massive increase in revenue. This argument of we're going to grow our way out of that, this Jack Kemp crap, trickle down, we know what that brought us. Low wages for the average citizen, and making the fat cats at the top and the big corporations, the Warren Buffetts of the world, own the world. And this Valentine's Day, you've heard my speech. I hope you're out having supper tonight and with your loved one, but you need to think about the things we're talking about here on Informed TV. Thanks for listening. I'm Alan Repke, Alexandria, Minnesota.